Welcome to Let's Talk Criterion, where we review and preview new and forthcoming releases to the collection. And we move into the month of April. And with the first title out of the gate, we see an existing Blu-ray in the collection get a well-earned upgrade. It's the 1953 film directed by Kenji Mizoguchi, Ugetsu, coming to the collection in 4K UHD. Kenji Mizoguchi was a Japanese filmmaker who directed roughly 100 films during his career between 1923 and 1956. His most prolific work includes The Story of the Last Chrysanthemums, The Life of Oharu, Ugetsu, and Sancho the Bailiff. A recurring theme of his films was the oppression of women in historical and contemporary Japan, and some of his films are in the Criterion collection, including his 1953 fantasy film Ugetsu. It's based on the book Ugetsu Monogatari by Ueda Akinari, and it stars Machiko Keio, Mitsuko Mito, Kinyo Katanaka, Masayuki Mori, Sake Ozawa. Now, the film won the Silver Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival, and it takes place during a time of civil war in 16th century Japan. The director's sweeping tale of earthly humanity and spectral apparitions considers the fates of women during wartime. Wives become victims to the ambitions of their husbands and the cruelty of men, while their ghosts remain behind in the earthly realm, haunted and unable to rest. The 1953 film, among the first to introduce the rest of the world to Japanese cinema, is a ponderous anti-war effort informed by traditional Japanese art, scroll painting, no theatre, ghost stories, and biwa music. The abiding bitterness of the film is that there is no room for ordinary women in this extraordinary space only occupied by men. They must bear the mundane evils of everyday suffering on behalf of their husbands and on behalf of themselves. Now, Ugetsu is set during the Japanese Civil War of the 16th century, and it follows the trials and the tribulations of two men. That's Jinjuro, played by Masayuki Mori, and Tobai, played by Itaro Ozawa, as well as their wives and son in Jinjuro's case. Jinjuro is a hard-working family man, and he wants to profit on the inevitable war by selling his pottery to the soldiers. Tobai is a simple man who wants nothing more than to be a samurai, but he's told that he can't even attempt to join their ranks without having appropriate weaponry or armour. So he helps Jinjuro produce a great stock of pottery to take to town and earn a slice of the profits. Now, the war comes early as they put the wares into the kiln and the families are forced into refuge. But the two men sneak back into their village, and they do manage to rescue the results of their labour and take them to a further town, and in the process make a lot of money for themselves. But in doing so, they separate themselves from their wives. Now, as the film goes on, the men are punished in various ways for their greed, with Jinjuro's story bringing a supernatural element to the proceedings as he is seduced by the mysterious Lady Wakasa, played in the film by Machiko Keio, and all memory of his wife seems to disappear with his new dreamlike existence. Now, it's in this awareness of miscommunication that Ugetsu should particularly resonate with contemporary Western audiences, as Mizoguchi's understanding of the tension existing between the sexes hasn't actually changed through the years. The men launder their ambitions through their women in a process of self-justification that reveals their feelings of inferiority. patriarchy entraps men too, most clearly those of lower classes, nurturing a perpetual fear of impotency that's ironically realised through the efforts to assuage that fear. Now, Ugetsu is based on two ghost stories from Ueda Akinari's collection of stories, Ugetsu Monogatari, which translates to Tales of Moonlight and Rain. It pivots on morals handed down from Japanese and Chinese cultures. And another significant influence on the film is the writing of Guy de Maupassant, which is evident in Tobai's narrative. These sources share with Mizoguchi's work a heightened awareness of how we devise our own tragedies with our hypocrisies, and of how cruelty begets cruelty in an endless and self-perpetuating cycle. The ironies here are elusively exponential, as a simulacrum of Genjiro's dream as the head of the house, occupied by a beautiful, glamorous and subservient woman, paves the way for his nightmare of ruthlessness, which resonates with a post-war Japan that was occupied by the US after losing its own quest for domination. Now, on the surface, the film has the assertion that man shouldn't be greedy, but Mizoguchi ultimately resists this particular categorization, and it's this simultaneous explicitness and ambiguity that informs the film with its roiling power. Mizoguchi's formalism brings to life the irresolvable thorniness of lust, longing, love, and self-hatred. And the scenes between Genjiro and Lady Wakasa, set among a dream of what their palace once was and clearly modelled on the traditions of no theatre, are among the most erotic ever committed to celluloid, expressing sex through heightened classical roleplay. Ugetsu gets a new restoration by the Film Foundation and Kadokawa Corporation at Cineric Laboratories in New York. Special thanks go to Masahiro Mishijima and Martin Scorsese for their consultation on the restoration. The funding for it was provided by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association in association with the Film Foundation and Kadokawa Corporation. Now, the release comes to the collection with 2 discs as usual. We have a 4K and a Blu-ray with the film and these special features. Audio commentary by critic, filmmaker and festival programmer Tony Raines. Kenji Mizoguchi, The Life of a Film Director, a 1975 documentary by Kaneto Shindo. Two Worlds Intertwined, a 2005 appreciation of Ugetsu by Masahiro Shinoda. Process and Production, a 2005 interview with Tokuzo Tanaka, first assistant director on Ugetsu. Interview from 1992 with cinematographer Kazuo Miyagawa. Trailers, and an essay written by the film critic Philip Lopate, and 3 short stories that inspired the film itself. Cover art is by Michael Boland. Moving between the terrestrial and the otherworldly, Ugetsu reveals essential truths about the ravages of war, the plight of women, and the pride of men. Now, the film has a running time of 96 minutes. Of course, it's in black and white, and it's in an aspect ratio of 1:37:1, and it's already in the collection, but it gets an upgrade to a 4K UHD combo, and it releases on Tuesday, the 1st of April, as existing spine 309. Next time on Let's Talk Criterion, we look at an MGM classic from 1959, getting a 4K upgrade, directed by Billy Wilder and starring Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe. Some Like It Hot. So until then, from me, as always, it's goodbye, and above all, good Criterion viewing.